We got to get there.
It's a process.
It is.
And I think a lot of us, when we hear the term process, we think, damn, how long is that going to take?
It's a process.
We put a time on everything, and unfortunately, that's how the world works sometimes. Is that when healing comes in, a question that I may tend to hear a lot on a weekly basis is, well, how long is that going to take? What's the average time you think that's going to take? Or what do I got to do to get here? But like at the end of the day, one statement that sometimes we struggle in hearing is, it's a process, because a process feels like the unknown. A process feels like, I don't know how long this is going to take. A process makes us use the term when, timing, when my alarm is going to go off. And not everybody understands, working through faith. Not everybody understands that we need to work on these things, and let's kind of follow back up to see where we are. We're all fixated on how specific time is going to go by, how much time is going to go by, when we're going to get here, and the time frame, but the world doesn't work like that. When you're dealing with healing, when you're dealing with mental health, when you're dealing with a breakup, when you're dealing with a letdown, or dealing with a random scab, it's not going to give you a time frame. But we have to get out of that spirit. And I know it's easier said than done, but to kind of go off what you mentioned earlier about sometimes we may reach an age where it's like, we want to be that.
1 second. 1 second. Keep going. This noise in the background is too much. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. But that's life sometimes. Life is filled with distractions, but it's all up to us how we're going to deal with those backgrounds, how we're going to deal with the distractions. Are we going to stop each and every time a distraction comes and let it distract us and get us off course? That's the devil sometimes. That's another 2-hour conversation. Or are we going to roll with the punches and realize that life is not that difficult as far as how society wants life to be? So to answer your first question, I don't have a major problem with somebody coming up and saying, look, I ain't really with all this foolishness. Like, I done been through all this. There's nothing wrong with that in a sense. But if you haven't healed from the previous baggage, if you haven't healed from a previous breakup, if you haven't healed from a previous toxic relationship, then that statement is going to be so seasoned. That statement is going to be salt, pepper, paprika, Larry's, all that, if you follow me. But so in a sense, that statement could be toxic, or that statement could be healthy. But should you start off with that when you going through the process of dating with somebody? I mean, yes and no. I mean, there's nothing wrong with letting somebody know your intent, but when do you stop making that statement? There's nothing wrong with being upfront and acknowledging that, but leave it right there. Show yourself that you've healed. Show this person that, hey, this is my intent. I ain't with that foolishness. But then leave it right there, because now you've set the tone. But if you feel now that you have to keep reminding this person that you're not with this BS, that it keeps feeling like you're taking me down this road that I don't want to go on, then sometimes it may be time to shoot the deuces.
Right.
But only because you're going on a journey where you've already healed, and you're going on this journey where you know your worth and you are the prize. And we're going to say it again just in case it was an echo. Going on this journey, you know that you're now the prize. And if this individual keeps reminding you, and I'm going to turn my volume up, if this individual keeps reminding you that this ain't the path you want to go down and you're no longer feeling like the prize, then guess what? It's time to shoot the deuces. Because a lot of things, and here's a nugget, and I mean, I'm talking about 6-piece nugget with extra sweet and sour sauce like my wife likes. Here's a nugget for the Lotus. Just because we dating, don't mean we obligated to have to spend the rest of our lives together.
Right.
You know how your heart might skip it. But like, so viewers, just because we're dating does not mean that we're obligated to spend the rest of our lives together. The purpose of dating is to get to know this person, to see if I want to spend the rest of my life with this person, if I want to have a future with this person, if this person can match my prized possession, if this person can either be my king or my queen of Zamunda. If they cannot, if they struggle in answering, being able to adjust to my non-negotiables, if they can't match my energy, if I don't have a good spirit about this person, if the energy is off, then guess what?
Chuck the deuces.
You got to get out of there, and you should not have any shame on chucking the deuces. I don't care how many times you have to chuck the deuces, because who's counting? I don't care if it's 5 people that you've had to chuck the deuces on, or whether it's 1 person. Stop allowing society to put a number on how many people you have to get rid of. Sometimes we have to just figure it out. Sometimes it is a journey. Sometimes it is a process. There's a reason when people say it's a journey. You have to find your joy in your journey. The joy in the journey is that J, is that O, and is that Y. You got to stay on that. Society's not going to walk you down the aisle. Society's not going to boost or decrease your credit score. Society's not going to pray for you. We got to do better when it comes to those things, and we got to stay away from what society wants us to do. So at the end of the day, be intentional.
I am so glad we got here. I don't know how we got here, but we got here.
We here.
This is amazing. God, so many questions I want to ask.
Let's ask it.
I want to ask this one in particular. With intentional dating, a lot of people feel like you should not date more than one person at a time. When you're dating. However, with the couples that you have counseled, do you see where intentional dating could potentially be a problem? If it's intentional dating, because I know there's a difference between intentional dating and serial dating. When you're intentionally dating someone, it's more so thought that this person, okay, may be somebody that I can be with for a long term. But you just said something that was profound. Just because you're dating doesn't mean that you're going to get married. So I could have been intentionally dating you with the hopes of maybe getting married, but along the way, things didn't line up all the way as they should for me to spend the rest of my life with you.
That's right.
So with intentional dating, I believe that there is definitely an intent, hence the word intentional. And then I believe some people are serial daters because they don't desire any type of long-term commitment. So even with intentional dating, if I'm dating two people at the same time, it still can be intentional, or would you say no?
Man, I like that question. So I'm going to dig into it. And of course, I can't give you a sentence. I'm going to have to give you a paragraph or four.
I didn't just meet you, date doctor.
Well, so I'm going to break it down this way. I'm for dating. I'm for figuring it out. I'm for seeing who's a good fit for me. But you got to be careful because not everybody's spirit is built on knowing that, hey, I want to pursue you and I want to be intentional. And of course, I want to see where this may go. But not everybody's spirit is set up to know that I want to be intentional. I want to see where it goes. But I know that you're dating me, but you're also maybe dating two other people at the same time. Now, not everybody's built on accepting that because sometimes that feels like cheating. Even though we may not have a title, sometimes I may not be built like that. And my subconscious may get the best of me. Sometimes my insecurities may get the best of me. Or another thing that may get the best of me is I haven't practiced that. I'm not prepared for that. I've only seen something like that in the movies. I may have seen something like that, on sitcom. So I don't know how I'm going to process that because now I feel like I'm having to compete. Now it feels like I may want to take you out, but you already over here with Jeffrey and them. Or I may want to take you out the following week, but now I got to compete with Leroy. So now it's like I'm going to be feeling like, dang, I really need to compete. But now I could just need to step my game up to increase the chances of you getting rid of Leroy and the other guy said it. I forgot his name. But Jeffrey. So that's one way to look at it. Or I could just initially step my game up in general because my confidence is higher, because I ain't looking at insecurities, because I'm looking at security and say, you know what? I respect her because she wants what's best for her and I want what's best for me. So let me do what it takes to see if I can step up to the plate to increase the chances of her getting rid of Jeffrey and Leroy. So now I can just be the only one. So now my intentions could be, she's looking for Mr. Right, and she doesn't want to possibly put all her eggs in one basket. So I'm kind of up in the air on how I want to answer that because that can be tricky, and you really have to be mindful about the person that you're with because not everybody is built to operate that way.
I get it. Everything ain't for everybody.
And it ain't.
And I believe that people have a challenge, or I might could even use the word conundrum with this, with wasting time and putting in time.
That's it.
So sometimes they feel like, okay, you're dating more than one person, I'm putting in the time, but they don't understand sometimes with putting in that time, it's going to require you to step your game up if you want that person to get rid of everybody else. But they equate it to the possibility that it could be potentially wasted time.
That's right.
And I get it. We can't spend time twice. That's my motto. So I'm very, very particular on where I place my time, because time is a currency that has an ability to yield us great things. However, I can't spend it twice.
That's it.
I can't spend it twice. And I think we get stuck with the insecurity. I mean, I had to choose the right word.
Yeah.
The insecurity of, I'm not going to be enough.
That's right.
I'm not going to measure up. But that's something that we have to dig deep and work on our own confidence. I believe in dating, even if it's dating multiple people, in order to find that right one.
Okay.
Sometimes we hone in on that one person, and sometimes our life don't call for us dating multiple people. We don't have the time for that.
Yeah.
So it's not an end-all, be-all answer. I get it, because it's not going to be blanket across everybody. It's whatever works for that individual. However, until I find that one person that I feel like I want to spend the rest of my life with, I don't mind dating multiple people. I think a lot of times we limit ourselves. We don't see what's out there. There are a lot of great people out there, and we get caught up with the wrong joker. I'm speaking from a woman's perspective.
Oh, yeah, you're speaking from experience, just from in general.
And I'm telling you, we get caught up with that wrong joker, trying to fix that wrong woman or wrong man, because we see something great in them. We see possibilities. But I always tell my lotuses, don't link up with potential.
That's right.
They could be potentially a great person, but it's not up for us to do the work for the other individual. We can be their help. We can be their cheerleader. But when I say don't link up with potential, a lot of times we put in the work that the person that we're dating will not.
That makes sense. I like that.
The potential is there, but we're trying so hard to pull that potential out of them that we lose ourselves sometimes.
And we will.
Or we get tired. Or we get burnt out for the person that's really out there waiting on us. That's our purpose partner. And then we become bitter. We have the potential of becoming angry. We internalize stuff. We lose time on projects that we could be potentially working on. That's part of our purpose. So that's why I tell people, don't link up with potential. It's not that we aren't better with another partner that is like-minded, that we can be equally yoked with. I'm not telling y'all that by far, because iron sharpens iron.
And it does.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, don't do the work that the person that you're dating is supposed to do for themselves.
That's right. Because, I mean, if you're going to do that, you might well go ahead and send them an invoice. But, I mean, I hate to put it that way, but it is what it is. But, like, I like how you presented that, because it's giving me a new outlook on life. Because now it's a matter of communication and being transparent. I'd rather somebody tell me, hey, you know, I'm interested in you, but, you know, I have these other two people that I'm considering. I'd rather hear that versus me finding out another way where it's looking like you're withholding information.
Open communication.
Because sometimes that's all it is, because it goes with what I said earlier. I'd rather you answer the question versus me answering it for you, because my insecurities may get the best of me and say, oh, she gonna say no, so I ain't gonna do that. Oh, so if I have two females that I'm pursuing, and say if I haven't met my wife yet and I'm interested in her, instead of me just withholding these two females from my wife, that can be looked at as in I'm withholding. That can be looked like manipulation. That can be looking like gaslighting. That can be looking like I'm being dishonest, versus if I'm being transparent and letting her know, I can give my future wife an opportunity to communicate if she wants to be in that particular position, if she's cool with staying in that role, versus me withholding it and just being dishonest.
And choosing for her.
And that's it. But a lot of times we are guilty of that, and we do that a lot. So I like how you presented that. But I know sometimes not everybody's built that way. Not everybody's able to
You're right.
receive it.
You're right.
But all we can do is communicate with them and see how they receive it versus not saying anything.
I forgot which movie that was. You Can't Handle the Truth. I can't remember which movie. And it's like, people, this doesn't make it right or wrong, though. This is
A Few Good Men.
A Few Good Men. Oh, that fits perfect.
Hey, y'all feel that shade? Y'all feel that shade? Okay.
But realistically, on all jokes aside, Lotus is, I like to tell the truth. You took the word out my mouth, transparency. And truthfully, a lot of times men aren't honest with us because they feel we can't handle the transparency. And let's be real. Some of us can't. There's so many times we go to men and be like, yeah, just tell me the truth. You can tell me. I ain't gonna get mad. Go ahead and tell me. I'm be okay with it. I'm able to handle what you tell me, and we sit there just to straight face it and know we lying. And then, this ain't all of us, but it's some of us. When they tell us the truth, we want to bleach their clothes. We want to bust windows out the car. We want to flatten tires. We want to call up people. We want to make Facebook posts. We want to make threats. Because we really truthfully can't handle the truth. Let's be honest.
That's true.
And they be wanting to tell us sometimes, and vice versa. It ain't always us. There's some crazy men out there too that stalk us and be waiting in the bushes, showing up at places. And I'm like, how you even know I was here? I didn't even know you. I'm here now.
I'm here.
Stop trying to deflect. Let's address the situation.
Why you gaslighting me? You know why I'm here. We got that app. That life.
But the truth of the matter is, if we would be adults for real and can have honest conversations, even if I'm upset for a little while, give me the opportunity to process that. That's one thing in my current relationship that we said early on. Be brutally honest. Not trying to crucify me or kill me, but go ahead and tell me the truth. Even if I get upset for a little while, even if I need 2 hours or 2 days to process it, I'm not taking those 2 hours or 2 days to go out there to find me somebody else. But let me work through it where I can be at a place where we can openly and honestly have the conversation by the topic at hand. Now, it may be 2 hours for me to process it, 2 days to process it, and then it may take another 2 or 3 days for us to talk all the way through it. But that's one of the other things that we said. We're going to talk about it as long as we need to talk about it for both of us.
That's growth.
To have resolve. Not just one of us being okay. Because there's no way to intentionally date someone with longevity in mind and you walk away from a conversation where only one of you are okay. Because if just one of you are okay, that's half of the relationship okay. Right. And there's no way for that relationship to be whole if only half is okay.